Now I want to focus on taking care of the whole child, assuring unconditional support. In addition to focusing on reading, what is the most important thing a parent and teacher can do to help the dyslexic child? Think about it. Where is this child most vulnerable? In addition to providing the loving and nurturing that come naturally with parenting, parents and teachers too of children with dyslexia should make their number one goal the preservation of their child's self-esteem. This is the area of greatest vulnerability for children who are dyslexic. Teachers and parents often hold high expectations for a child who is harboring a hidden disability, and then are surprised, disappointed, or even angry when the child does not perform well in school. If he is accused often of not working hard enough, of not being motivated, or of not really being that smart after all, the child soon begins to doubt himself. The enormous effort and extraordinary perseverance he must expend just to keep up seem to have no payoff. That is why understanding by parents, by teachers, and ultimately by the child of the nature of his reading problem is critical in helping a child to develop a positive sense of himself. So you might ask, what are the most critical things a dyslexic child needs to know? It is essential that the child knows that his difficulty has a name, dyslexia, and that it means being smart while at the same time having some difficulty in reading, and that it can and will be helped. I'll speak more about this in just a few minutes. An unwavering commitment to the intrinsic value of a child with dyslexia is essential. Every dyslexic child is invariably going to endure ups and downs in his school experiences. So early on, each child needs to know that no matter what, he can always count on his parents for unconditional support. All dyslexics who have become successful by any account share the unfailing love and support of their parents or a grandparent, teacher, or spouse. Parents must always be there for the child where and when he needs it, ensuring early screening by a school, in seeking out an accurate diagnosis, and then an effective intervention, in helping to make sure that school is a positive experience, in exposing him to the world, and in reading with him and perhaps for him. Those who support a dyslexic child must always remind that child of his value as a person. Think about it. Your child is called on to read aloud and is admonished, "Don't you know this?" Or the class giggles, and he thinks to himself, "What's wrong with me? Why can't I do this?" So what are the things a parent or teacher can do? Think about it. What things come to mind? The first is to let him know the nature of his reading problem. Children are greatly relieved to learn why they have so much difficulty reading. Anxiety comes from not knowing why this is happening. What's wrong with me? Knowledge of the problem, that it has a name, brings with it the light of self-awareness and self-advocacy, which in turn build the road to self-esteem and empowerment. Think about it. How can you help your child or student to build a positive mindset? What specific things can you do? I'm going to suggest some and see how well they coincide with your thoughts. You can help your child or student build a positive mindset by growing and maintaining his self-esteem, ensuring that he develops self-awareness of who he is and how his brain functions, helping him learn to self-advocate. Notice how these three all involve self, and that is key. Here the focus is very personal, the self. Taking the long view, help him keep in mind that there can be a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Share with him that dyslexics like him or her have created wonderful, well-received things. For example, author Dav Pilkey, who wrote the very popular book series, Captain Underpants, is dyslexic. Think about it. What do you think are the most important facts to share with your child when she first finds out that she has dyslexia? What do you think is the most important fact? The most important fact is that her difficulty has a name, dyslexia. Other important facts to share include dyslexia is a problem intelligent people have with reading. Bring in and show her the Sea of Strengths model, a weakness in decoding, connecting letters to sounds, surrounded by a sea of strengths in higher level thinking skills, such as reasoning, problem solving, and big picture thinking. You can actually draw out a model of the reading difficulty surrounded by a sea of strengths appropriate to the child's age and level of understanding. Reassure her that dyslexia has nothing to do with how smart she is. Tell her that, in fact, some of the brightest people have dyslexia. Share the federal definition of dyslexia. Dyslexia is an unexpected difficulty in reading in a person who has the intelligence to be a better reader. Explain that her problem is caused by a difficulty in pulling apart the sounds of words. Refer to them as sticky sounds. Tell her that words have sounds that come apart, and that people with dyslexia have trouble pulling the sounds apart, so that instead of hearing 3 sounds in a word, she may only notice 1 or 2. You can use a set of blocks to make your point. Explain to her the kinds of problems sticky sounds cause in sounding out words, in confusing words that sound alike, like general and gentle, in reading aloud, in spelling, as well as pronouncing words. You can tell her how some people often know the answer to a question, but have a problem getting the right words out of their mouth. Reassure her that this is a common problem that many children have, and that it can be helped by the right teaching. Tell her she will learn to read. Tell her about the many famous people who are smart, successful, and also dyslexic. Reassure her that her brain is normal, that there are no defects in it. Explain that the express route or highway to reading is blocked in dyslexia, and that she has to take another route, the secondary, bumpier, and slower back roads. As a result, she can get to her destination, but it just takes much longer.
About a year or two after I was diagnosed with dyslexia, you invited me to come listen to a bunch of incredible dyslexic speakers talk about their experiences with dyslexia. And that to me really helped show me that I'm not alone with dyslexia. And having dyslexia means that you still can succeed. And I was able to see a bunch of other people with dyslexia be able to do that.